What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome aboard to Trading Live with Bubba. And of course, markets are fairly active, but they're quiet. It's kind of an oxymoron, but they look like they're busy, but there's not all that much volume. But as you can see from this morning's early morning sell-off, we've gone nothing but go straight up pretty much across the board. Oops, I don't want that. What do I got? I got to get it back to here. Hold on a second. How do I get there? You go. We've gone pretty much straight up in all the equities from there. Now, again, we're still down on the day in a few, but again, you have seen that rally, which is exactly the pattern that we look for when we're live trading. Of course, it's got to happen when we're together. And you can see that volume continues to decline. And a lot of that has to do with tomorrow morning, you got CPI at 8:30 Eastern, and then you've got the FOMC decision. Now, again, I don't think they're going to be cutting any rates tomorrow. I don't think they can cut rates at all. That's, again, my opinion, because of the high inflation. And I think it's going to be a lot higher tomorrow, no matter what you think. And of course, you yourself know if inflation is high or not because you go to the grocery store or wherever you go. However, we will see, I would suspect, some pretty light action today as you see positioning and getting ready to go. So as we see if there's anything for us to do now while we're here, there might be something in the euro currency to look at. We'll come back to it in a minute because we do have a couple of minutes before anyway. So let's take a look at some actual charts and see what's going on. And of course, Apple, after getting hammered yesterday, I had their AI meeting or whatever the hell they call that meeting. They had a meeting yesterday, and I guess they were talking about open AI, and of course, it is skyrocketing higher. Now, this is an opportunity to look to sell Apple. Okay, and I'm not saying short the stock. I would look to sell some premium here. Okay, we're getting a blow off, and I would assume that before the day is over, this volume will surpass that line that I've drawn in there. But what I would be doing now in this particular case is I'd be looking at, let's say a 10-minute chart. Okay, and I would want to see before I'm going to sell those spreads, I want to see the market start to turn over a little bit. In other words, on a 10-minute scale or whatever scale you want to use. Again, if you want to get in quicker, you can use a 4-minute, okay? You want to take your time, you can use a 30-minute. It doesn't really matter, okay? We do know and we can identify and recognize that this market is blowing off to the upside. And no matter how good the news was, the markets have over-anticipated. And of course, they probably trapped a few shorts after yesterday. So in the meantime, in Apple, I'd be looking for an opportunity to sell some spreads. And I'm personally working, I'll just give you full disclosure, I'm working to sell the 205, 207.50 for $1. Okay, I think it's trading right now at 80 cents. So I need a little bit more of a rally, but I'm going to play into it and see if it'll get there for me. I won't worry about it. A new one, which we don't trade or haven't traded, is CrowdStrike. Now, I already have a position here, but it's not too late if you want to participate. This is a little bit higher risk. CrowdStrike got into the S&P, which obviously you see the explosion in the stock from 300 to almost 380. I've got two different positions in here for myself. And one is I sold the deep in the money call spread. I'll tell you exactly what I did. I sold the 360, 375, and I sold that spread for $11.40. Okay. Now, again, if you want to get a comparison to what that's really worth, okay, I really bought the 375 put for $3.60. That's the how you can equate. So I bought the put $1.50 cheaper than I could buy it if I just went out and bought the put. Okay. And I also sold the 380, 382.50 call spread, okay, for $1.10. Okay. So again, I'm looking to take advantage of these overbought. And again, it could be wrong. There is no guarantee that this is going to be a winning trade. However, I believe that the probabilities are strong in my favor. So I'm going to look at that. Let's go back and see what's going on with the euro currency, if it's a trade. And there would be no trade in the euro currency. There's a little bit what we would call too much blowback coming back before we'd even get an opportunity to sell it. So there's nothing there. And as we look at any of the other markets, there's really nothing. So again, we'll go back and see what's going on in the bigger picture. So we go back from Apple, and now we're going to take a look at Amazon. Again, Amazon's getting to that point, a little bit overbought, and notice the range. It's been stuck in 175 to 190. Okay, So again, we're getting up closer to there. Certainly you want to look at now. I wouldn't get so aggressive today, again, going into tomorrow with some of these. Today is the day to be using a lot of the zero DTE stuff, the SPY, the Q, the IWM, if you want to. And again, there's no necessity that you have to do that, but certainly I would think that would be something. And in fact, I'm going to jump to the Qs now because I want to see if there's anything worth doing. We are oversold, and I'm going to go ahead and look. I wish I could show you this screen, but I can't. But let me just go look at this right now and see where we're at. And the Qs are trading at 465. Okay, so the 466, 466, 470 is trading at 25 cents. It's a little light for me. I'm going to wait on that, but let's see if I want to go and look at the actual 465, 465, 466 for 44 cents. It's a little bit more of a little bit of a risk exposure, but I'm willing to take the chance. Okay, so I'm now working that order. Okay, 455, 456 for 44 cents. And again, I think that it makes sense to look at those types of trades. As you can see, you're pretty overbought. We've had a pretty big rally, so I don't have a problem with trying to make that trade. I think that again, you can look at it in any form that you want, but I think that at the end of the day, the probability will share and show you that that's probably the right side of the market to be on. So, all right, let's go back into coin, which is we got smushed, but look, it came right back. So notice how it's really holding support. When we talk about the phases of the market, this has been consolidating up here between 240 and 260. You had a quick breakdown this morning, already coming back. So you had a false breakout to the downside, now working its way back. But from a trading standpoint, I don't see much to do right in here. So again, this is one I'd pass. And again, I'm not trying to be overly aggressive, knowing the numbers that are coming out tomorrow. Now, they may be a big nothing and cause no action, or they could be something. And that's, again, I don't want to, there's too many opportunities and too much probability in our favor to take chances that we don't have to. We're always at risk. I mean, you're in a risk-taking business, but why expose yourself at times when you don't have to? Okay. Now, interesting enough, the euro kind of gave us a follow-up here, the euro currency. Okay. And it's going higher. So we'll come back and look at it. We may get a shot at it now because we were patient enough not to jump in it in the first place and are not stuck right now. So that's something that you always want to remember, is patience is very good. Now, if you recall, last week we talked about Meta, and we said that it was going to break out one way or the other. Well, it broke out to the upside. Okay. Again, either way, we don't know. But once again, now in Meta, okay, here you are, very overbought, resistance. Okay. Do you want hold on a second. Okay. So here we are pushing up towards the top, and there's high probability that it's going to, at least if it doesn't go higher, at least if it doesn't come back lower, at least it should stay right around here. So if you're using the proper strikes, then you put yourself in position. Again, all you're trying to do is be on the right side of probability. Let's go back to our other screen and see what we got. I mean, this is probably interesting at resistance. Okay. This would be a little bit more aggressive than we normally like to be. So I think we're just going to go ahead and pass on it. And unless it gives me, again, I don't like to make exceptions, especially into markets that are a little bit slow. I think that you're better off passing when the markets are not active, because there are so many opportunities. Google, again, just kind of in the middle of nowhere. Okay, really nothing to do, really in a consolidation, and really 170 to 180. You're trading at 174. So where are you? You're dead in the middle. Nothing really to do. Okay. IWM, very oversold. So here is a very good opportunity to potentially look at selling some put spreads. Okay. And again, we don't care. We're not picking a side. We're letting the market pick the side for us. So as I look, where are we at here? We're trading at 199. So here you're not going to probably get enough juice to go ahead and make this trade. I mean, it maybe, again, it depends on what your limits are. I typically won't make a trade unless I can get 35 to 40%. Okay, I'm willing to go closer to the money. But here we are split, okay, at 199.50. So there's really not much that I can do here. I'll just sit back and let it trade and check it later. Moderna, again, right in the middle of nowhere. Okay. Now we can see by the pattern forming that Moderna is probably going to make a much bigger move at some point here, which is fine. And of course, Microsoft up at the resistance, but not so much overbought. Do I really want to get involved here? And again, probably not. Okay. Again, I'm not looking to create a lot of additional risk as we get ready to go into a potential number. I think that's one thing you have to remember is that we don't know what the number is going to be. We don't know what the number is going to do or how it's going to react to the markets. So sometimes it's better off to sit and wait, okay, until afterwards. NVIDIA, okay. Now this is a bad print from yesterday, but NVIDIA is now, churning and looking like it's in good shape, but now it becomes much more tradable for us because of the price. Obviously, it's a lot easier to trade a $120 stock than a $1,000 stock, but I don't see much to do right here. A little bit of a rally, and I might look to be a seller. The cues we talked about, and of course, they have stalled and are slowing here. Does that mean they're going to go down? It doesn't matter. I don't need them to go down. I just need them to not go up. Okay, that's the thing you want to remember. I don't care if they don't go down. I just don't want them to go up. Okay, Square continues to push down, probably looking for a spot to sell some put spreads. The SPY kind of oversold. Kind of overbought. Already sold off a little bit today. Again, I think I'd rather wait to see if there'd be a rally. Again, I'm going to be much more to the side of being conservative as we wait for these numbers to come out, because they could do anything. The worst thing that could have happen to me is have them force me out because I got a big print and I have to make a decision. I don't like to make a decision. So I'd like the market just to trade the way that I think they should. And again, I'll wait. And again, volume is extremely light here as well. Tesla looks like it's breaking to the downside. So if we look as on the opposite of Meta, which was in the same pattern, Tesla looks like it wants to break to the downside. Okay. Now you are very oversold. Here I would certainly take a chance. And here I'm not as concerned because I don't know how much effect the number is going to have based on the pattern that Tesla's been in. So I would certainly look at selling some put spreads here. Let's go back and see if there's anything worth noting in our other stuff. Not really. Okay, you got a little bit of a spike up in crude oil. Okay, this would be a highly questionable trade if we made it. It certainly kind of qualifies, right? Again, it's just the volumes have gotten very light. But let's take a look. We'll see if it does give us a trade. So right now there is no trade, and our stop in here would be 78.39 would be our stop if we do make a trade here, and maybe we'll get one here. I don't know. We'll see. I'm ready for it. If it gives it, I'm gonna take it. Okay. But I got to wait for the time. Remember, you have to wait for the bar to close. Okay. And not the one, not the 4 o'clock license bar. This is a minute. Okay. And our stop is 78.39. Okay. So let me put that in. I'm going to put that in now because I know I'm going to make this trade. Okay. And let's see what happens here. We're going to get a trade. Now the question is, we don't want it to get away from us and give up too much blowback, as they call it. So let's see where it takes us. And okay, it's a go if you want to play. If you want to play, it's a go. Okay. That's up to you. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I've got 4 on. So I'm going to put an order in to buy one at 61, 77, 61, and one at 77, 51. Try to take some profit here while I'm waiting. Okay. Now let's just go back to this screen here and see if there's any other activity to look at. And no, there really is not. So, okay. So now we can go back and look at our charts, and I'm not worried about it. I've got my stop in, I've got my play. Win, very oversold. Okay. Certainly would look to sell put spreads here. And certainly I'm not as concerned about the ones that are oversold. I'm more in belief that they'll hold, at least hold at some point there. So I think that that's something that is important to understand. And of course, Zoom is in the middle of nowhere, untradeable at these levels. So as we just go back and take a look at Apple, okay, has already started to come off a little bit. So here we haven't been on long enough, but if I go to the 10-minute, which I first showed you, this would be a spot that I would look at. It's the same philosophy that we just used on crude oil. Okay, we got the red bar off the top, so there would certainly be something that I would look at to sell. Okay, and crowd, there you go. So crowd is also, if I take this down to, again, a 10-minute chart, there you have. Okay, you've got your reason to sell. You actually had it here or here. So now, again, does it mean that it's going to work 100%? No, it does not mean that. What it means is that you've got opportunities to do what you need to do, okay? And that's all you're trying to create is opportunities, okay? That is really all this business comes down to, is to be in the best position of probability, which means if you learn to read the chart and you understand using a 2 time frame model, okay? Because you need a time frame that triggers to tell you to look at the trade, and you need a time frame that tells you to go ahead and make the trade. So the longer time frame, whichever it is, and it can be, here we're using 4 minutes and 1 minute. I mean, it can be an hour. And again, the secondary time frame, as you get longer time frames, can be your choice. The shorter the secondary time frame that you use, the more active you're going to be into the market. Okay, that's something you want to remember. The shorter the frame that you're using, the more active you're going to be. Okay, so if you like to be active, then you'll use a shorter time frame. If you want to be a little bit more passive, then you'll give it more time to convince you, okay, that it is. Now here we are. Our crude oil is not breaking as fast as I'd like it to do. So what I'm going to do now, okay, is I'm going to go ahead and put in my stop and lock in a couple of ticks, okay, just so I can cover my cost of commission and my trade. I'm still in, but I'm not going to take a loss in this trade. It didn't happen. It didn't react as fast as I'd like it to be. So now I'm in a position that I can lock in this case, trading 4 micros, I can lock in $6 or $7. Okay. It doesn't sound like a lot, but again, I'm not going to lose money on this trade now. Okay. I've given it long enough to do what I wanted to do. It has not cooperated. Now I don't have to get out, and I can let it play, and it could still turn into a monster winner, but it will not be a losing trade. And that's one of the other things we have to learn to participate with, is we don't want to create losers of trades that are winners when we can recognize that they have not done what we would like them to do based on the whole pattern that we're looking at. Because we would expect, all right, I am stopped out, made a small, tiny profit. Okay. Got to close the rest of my orders. But again, that's okay. Okay. Because there's going to be another trade. And remember, when it gets busier, there'll be a lot of trades. Okay. We should, in our 20 minutes together every day, if we're busy, we should make 4 or 5 trades. Okay. Now, unfortunately, it's very quiet. And obviously today it's obvious why it's quiet, because of we got news coming around. But if we ever get back to a normal trading market, we will see much more activity in these markets and much more action, which will create more trades. Okay. But you can see that it now is holding, and now you're starting to develop some consolidation in here in the crude oil. So those are the things you want to look at. I know it's a lot. And again, we continue to do the same thing so we can kind of create the pattern, because all I do and all I've done for 45 years is the same thing over and over again, just like the charts. Okay. So in the meantime, have a great day, everybody. We'll see you back here on Thursday, and good luck and good trading. We'll see you later, everybody.
All opinions expressed by Tradier Hub contributors are solely the contributors' opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Tradier nor its affiliates and/or subsidiaries. You should not treat any opinion expressed by Hub contributors as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or to follow a particular strategy, but only as an expression of their opinion. The contributors' opinions are based on their own personal research, but neither Tradier nor its affiliates and/or subsidiaries warrants its completeness or accuracy, and it should not be relied upon as such. Any trades or positions discussed or referred to by contributors may or may not be actual live trades or positions. Such information is not intended to be financial or investment advice. Tradier Inc. is the parent company of Tradier Brokerage Inc. Tradier Brokerage Inc. and Tradier Inc. are separate entities with their own products and services. Securities products and services are offered through Tradier Brokerage Inc. Tradier Brokerage Inc. is an independent subsidiary of Tradier Inc. All rights reserved. Member FINRA SIPC.